a horrific story of a young black 16-year-old male applying for a job at Michael's. Okay, that was probably the first mistake. He's applying for a job at Michael's, and somebody just assumes he's a criminal. And they call the police on this guy who's trying to get a job at the store. Let me give you the background. 16-year-old individual in Minnesota was arrested for trespassing when applying for a job at Michael's. According to CBS affiliate WCCO, a Minnesota Department of Human Rights investigation has determined that the Brooklyn Center Police Department and Michael Stores Inc. violated the state's civil rights laws for racial discrimination. This incident happened in 2019, took them a while to investigate, involving the profiling of a 16-year-old black young man and the use of excessive force by the police. According to the Department of Human Rights, the then 16-year-old was applying for a job at the Michael's at Shingle Creek Crossing, March of 2019. When a white manager with a history of racially profiling black customers called the police on him. Now remember, this report is coming directly from the government. This is what the government is saying the narrative is. The DHR says it will seek structural change through a settlement agreement with the Brooklyn Center Police and Michael's, as well as monetary relief for the then 16-year-old. So let me tell you how this ended up going down, because this 16-year-old stood up for himself, okay? And I'm proud of him for doing so. A manager, a white woman, also unnamed, called 911 to report that a black kid with dreadlocks was going through the store playing with the balls, kicking stuff off shelves, and that he wouldn't leave after repeatedly being asked to do so. Surveillance video, however, shows the teenager did juggle a few items, but put them back. While another store employee testified that he was not acting out of the norm and there was no reason to call the police on him. The teen did leave as requested, but re-entered in protest and said, wait a minute, something is wrong here. You all told me to leave because I'm black. He came back and protested his dismissal. So the manager had somebody call 911. 911 comes, the police come. They arrived seconds after the 911 call was placed, and one of the officers found the teenager shopping in a different store. He approached the teenager and reached to grab his arm, saying, come here, man. The teen stepped back, put up his hands and said, don't touch me. The officer later testified that raising one's hands up is an assaultive posture, demonstrating resistance. So naturally he gets locked up, okay? Another officer then entered the store, and together they threw the teenager to the ground, grabbed and pulled him by his dreadlocks, put a knee to his back and handcuffed him, according to the investigative report. The teenager, while on the ground, cried out, don't kill me, I want to grow up. One officer replied, maybe you should stop fighting the police. Nobody said he was fighting the cops. The teen was taken to the hospital after he was jerked around. He was charged with disorderly conduct, trespassing, and obstructing a legal process. The young man went to Michael's to apply for a job, and all of this happened to him. He is now going to get a settlement. After reviewing body cams, it was found the officers also lied on their official reports, saying the young man had fought with them. There was no fight. Video camera says no fight. Witnesses say no fight. And because they have refused to give us the names of these officers, let's put up their boss. I told you we have a game that we play where if I can't find the cop, we put your boss front and center. This is the police chief, Tony Grunig. He's the guy in charge. The buck stops with him. Adrienne, young man is going to get a settlement.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much money you give to people when you are violating their civil rights. There are things that money can't buy.
That's right.
And that feeling of degradation, the fact that you can't even apply for a job, that people are willing to lie on you, to call the police, to throw you into the justice system that's gonna funnel you into further complications throughout your life. They are compromising this individual's entire future just so that they can enact racism, and how essentially the police were a party to this. And the fact that Michaels, I would like to see more from them, especially since they knew that this manager had a history of essentially racial profiling guests. This is an entire setup. I really hope that Michaels does pay out of the nose, but the fact is that this young man, his life will never be the same, and neither will his outlook on the world.
Yeah, and it's an unfortunate introduction to adults. It really is.